in the pleasures of the world. Death fetches him away as a flood carries off a sleeping village. Death overcomes him when, with distracted mind and thirsty senses, he gathers flowers. He will never have his fill of the pleasures of the world. The bee gathers nectar from the flower without marring its beauty or perfume. So let the master settle and wander. Look to your own faults, what you have done or left undone. Overlook the faults of others. Like a lovely flower, bright but scentless, are the fine but empty words of the man who does not mean what he says. Like a lovely flower, bright and fragrant, are the fine and truthful words of the man who means what he says. Like garlands woven from a heap of flowers, fashion from your life as many good deeds. The perfume of sandalwood, rosebay, or jasmine cannot travel against the wind, but the fragrance of virtue travels even against the wind as far as the ends of the world. How much finer is the fragrance of virtue than of sandalwood, rosebay, of the blue lotus, or jasmine? The fragrance of sandalwood and rosebay does not travel far, but the fragrance of virtue rises to the heavens. Desire never crosses the path of virtuous and wakeful men. Their brightness sets them free. How sweetly the lotus grows in the litter of the wayside. Its pure fragrance delights the heart. Follow the awakened, and from among the blind, the light of your wisdom will shine out purely. The fool. How long the night to the watchman, how long the road to the weary traveler, how long the wandering of many lives to the fool who misses the way. If the traveler cannot find master or friend to go with him, let him travel on alone rather than with a fool for company. My children, my wealth, so the fool troubles himself. But how has he children or wealth? He is not even his own master. The fool, who knows he is a fool, is that much wiser. The fool who thinks he is wise is a fool indeed. Does the spoon taste the soup? A fool may live all his life in the company of a master and still miss the way. The tongue tastes the soup. If you are awake in the presence of a master, one moment will show you the way. The fool is his own enemy. The mischief he does is his undoing. How bitterly he suffers. Why do what you will regret? Why bring tears upon yourself? Do only what you do not regret, and fill yourself with joy. For a while, the fool's mischief tastes sweet, sweet as honey. But in the end it turns bitter, and how bitterly he suffers. For months the fool may fast, eating from the tip of a grass blade. Still, he is not worth a penny beside the master whose food is the way. Fresh milk takes time to sour, so a fool's mischief takes time to catch up with him. Like the embers of a fire, it smolders within him. Whatever a fool learns, it only makes him duller. Knowledge cleaves his head, but then he wants recognition, a place before other people, a place over other people. Let them know my work, let everyone look to me for direction. Such are his desires, such is his swelling pride. One way leads to wealth and fame, the other to the end of the way. Look not for recognition, but follow the awakened and set yourself free.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or any other type of blood cancer makes people want more time.
Okay, this is going to be my meditation. I have a very special book called India's Love Lyrics by Nicholson. This is love hypnosis. I hope you enjoy. These are poems and verses. And I'm going to create clips on YouTube. I'm going to create 10. This will be a 30-minute reading or more, about an hour's worth. I'll read you a little something about this book. These are the contents. This book is 123 years old. It's by John Lane. That's the copyright. Contents are less than dust, to the unattainable, in the early pearly morning, reverie of Muhammad Akram at the tamarind tank, song of Khan Zada, the teak forest, Valgovan's boat song, Kashmiri song by Juma, Zero in Captivity, Marriage Thoughts by Morsalin Khan, to the unattainable. Let's see what else is there. There's a lot. Youth, Farewell, A Fruity Love. These are all poems. No Rival Like the Past. Verse by Taj Muhammad, The Singer, Malaria, Fancy Feroza, Starlight. India's Love Lyrics. Somebody's wishing me a little birthday. Oh. Sec. Sorry. The challenge of doing recording all this stuff is distractions. But anyways, the most annoying part is you have to go back and make all these stupid YouTube videos public because they get saved as private when you create a clip. I'm not so sure I want to read this book right now. It's not bad, but I think I'm going to pass and get something else. So going back to Dhammapada.
The wise man. The wise man tells you where you have fallen and where you yet may fall. Invaluable secrets. Follow him. Follow the way. Let him chasten and teach you and keep you from mischief. The world may hate him, but good men love him. Do not look for bad company or live with men who do not care. Find friends who love the truth. Drink deeply. Live in serenity and joy. The wise man delights in the truth and follows the law of the awakened. The farmer channels water to his land. The fletcher whittles his arrows, and the carpenter turns his wood. So the wise man directs his mind. The wind cannot shake a mountain.
Okay, this is what we're going to read. These are Buddhist writings with an introductory note. These are sacred writings, Harvard Press. This is the introductory note. This will be the first recording. Siddhartha Gautama, known as Buddha, the Awakened, was the son of the ruler of Kakya land, a region lying in the northeast of Uda in northern India. The date of his birth is placed around 557 BC. He was born a warrior prince, but at the age of 29, after having married and had a son, he determined to renounce the world. Abandoning his family and his possessions, he gave himself up to asceticism and concentration of thought, under the direction of masters of this discipline. After 7 years, he concluded that this method brought him no nearer to the wisdom he sought as a means of escaping rebirth into a life which he had found not worth living, and for a time he tried starvation and self-torture. This also availed him nothing, when suddenly, sitting under the sacred fig tree at Bodhi Gaya, he became illumined and saw the great truths. Henceforth he was known as Buddha. Gautama's first aim had been merely his own salvation, but moved by pity for mankind, he resolved to bestow on others the four great truths and the eightfold path. Beginning his ministry at Benares, he converted first 5 monks who had previously been his fellows in asceticism, then many of the noble youth of the city, then 1,000 Brahmin priests. The rest of his life was spent in wandering about and preaching his new creed, which spread with extraordinary rapidity. He died not far from his native region about the year 477 BC. The foregoing outline selects what seemed the most reliable main elements in a biography which has naturally become saturated with legend of latter growth, the teachings of Buddha, so similar in its pessimistic view of life to that of the Book of Ecclesiastes, is amply represented in the following writings. The Buddha, the story of Sumedha, translated from the introduction to the Jataka. 100,000 cycles vast and 4 immensities ago, there was a town named Amara, a place of beauty and delights. It had the noises 10 complete, and food and drink abundantly. The noise of elephant and horse, of conch shell, drum, and chariot, and invitations to partake. Eat ye and drink resounded loud. A town complete in all its parts, where every industry was found, and eke the 7 precious gems, and foreigners from many lands, a prosperous city of the gods, full of good works and holy men. Within this town of Amara, Sumedha lived of Brahmin caste, who many tens of millions had, and grain and treasure in full store. A student he, and wise in spells, a master of the Vedas 3, he fortunes told, tradition knew, in every dust of his caste. In secret then I sat me down, and thus to ponder I began, what misery to be born again, and have the flesh dissolve at death, subject to birth, old age, disease, extinction will I seek to find, where no decay is ever known, nor death, but all security. What if I now should rid me of this body foul, this charnel house, and go my way without a care, or least regret for things behind? There must be an escape. Impossible there should not be. I'll make the search and find the way, which from existence shall release. Even as although there misery is, yet happiness is also found, so though indeed existence is and non-existence should be sought. Even as, although there may be heat, yet grateful cold is also found, so, though the threefold fire exists, likewise, nirvana should be sought. Even as, although there evil is, that which is good is also found. So, though 'tis true that birth exists, that which is not birth should be sought. Even as a man befouled with dung, seeing a briming lake at hand, and nathless bathing not therein, where senseless should be chide the lake. So, when Nirvana's lake exists, to wash away corruption's stain, should I not seek to bathe therein, I might not then Nirvana chide. Even as a man hemmed in by foes, seeing a certain safe escape, and nathless seeking not to flee, might not the blameless pathway chide. So when my passions hem me in, and yet a way to bliss exists, should I not seek to follow it, that way of bliss I might not chide? Even as a man, who sore diseased, when a physician may be had, should fail to send to have him come, might the physician then not chide? So when diseased with passion, sore oppressed, I seek the master not, whose ghostly counsel me might cure. The blame should not on him be laid, even as a man might rid him of a horrid corpse bound to his neck, then upon his way proceed, joyous and free and unconstrained. So must I likewise rid me of this body foul, this charnel house, go my way without a care or least regret for things behind, as men and women rid them of their dung upon the refuse heap, and go their ways without a care or least regret for what they leave, so will I likewise rid me of this body foul, this charnel house, and go my way as if I had cast out my filth into the draught, even as the owners leave and quit a worn-out, shattered, leaky ship. Go their ways without a care, or least regret for what they leave. So will I likewise rid me of this nine-holed, ever-trickling frame, go my way as owners do, whose ship disrupted leave behind, even as a man who treasures bears, finds him in robber gang, will quickly flee and rid him of the robbers, lest they steal his gold. So, to a mighty robber might be likened well this body's frame. I'll cast it off and go my way, lest of my welfare I be robbed. Thus thinking, I, on rich and poor, all that I had in alms bestowed, hundreds of millions spent I then, and made to Himavant my way. Not far away from Himavant, there was a hill named Damaka, and here I made the patterned well, a hermitage and hut of leaves. A walking place I then laid out, exempted from the 5 defects, and having all the virtues 8. And there I gained the 6 high powers. Then ceased I cloaks of cloth to wear, for cloaks possess the 9 defects, and girded on a barken dress, which is with virtues 12 endued. My hut of leaves I then forsook, so crowded with the 8 defects. Native gloss. Exempted from, this is the subnote, exempted from the 5 defects. The following are the 5 defects in a walking place: hardness and unevenness, trees in the midst, dense underbrush, excessive narrowness, excessive width. And having all the 8 virtues, having the 8 advantages for a monk. The following are the 8 advantages for a monk. It admits no storing up of treasure or grain. It favors only a blameless alms seeking. There one can eat his alms in peace and quiet. There no annoyance is experienced from the reigning families when they oppress the kingdom with the levies of the precious metals or of leaden money. No passionate desire arises for furniture and implements. There is no fear of being plundered by robbers. No intimacies are formed with kings and courtiers, and one is not just, and one is not shut in any of the 4 directions. For cloaks possess the 9 defects. For one who retires from the world takes up the life of an anchorite. There are 9 defects inherent in garments of cloth. The great cost is 1 defect. The fact that it is got by dependence on others is another. The fact that it is easily soiled by use in another. For when it has been soiled, it must be washed and dyed. The fact that when it is much worn, it must needs be patched and mended in another. The difficulty of obtaining a new one when needed is another. Its unsuitableness for an anchorite who has retired from the world is another. Its acceptableness to one's enemies is another, for it must needs be guarded lest the enemy take it. The danger that it may be worn for ornament is another. The temptation it affords to load oneself down with it in traveling is another. The bast or inner bark of certain trees was much used in India as cloth, to which indeed it bears a striking resemblance, which is with virtues 12 endued, possessing 12 advantages. For there are 12 advantages in a dress of bark. It is cheap, good, and suitable. This is 1 advantage. You can make it yourself. This is a 2nd. It gets dirty but slowly by use, and hence time is not wasted in washing it. This is 3rd. It never needs sewing, which even when much used and worn, this is a 4th. But when a new one is needed, it can be made with ease. This is a 5th. Its suitableness for an anchorite who has retired from the world is a 6th. That is of no use to one's enemies is a 7th. That it cannot be worn for ornament is an 8th. Its lightness is a 9th. Its conducing to moderation in dress is a 10th. The irreproachableness and blamelessness of searching for bark is an 11th, and the unimportance of its loss is a 12th. My hut of leaves I then forsook, so crowded with 8 defects, for there are 8 evils connected with the use of a leaf hut. The great labor involved in searching for materials and in putting them together is 1 evil. The constant care necessary to replace. Holy crap, this is going to go on forever. Can you believe all this? The 12 advantages of wearing leaves as your dress. It never ends. Okay, I don't know if I want to continue on. It goes on and on and on and on. So this is the story of Sumedha. And this entire story is related by the Buddha to his disciples, described how in his long existence as the Brahmin Sumedha, he first resolved to strive for the Buddhaship. In stanzas 4 through 5, he speaks of himself, that is, of Sumedha, in the third person, but elsewhere in the first. Only 6 of the 10 noises indicative of a flourishing town are here mentioned for the complete list. So it's kind of interesting. Many people might call themselves Buddhists, but I bet you they've never even read this. And also, this predates Jesus, so it makes me think that this information was probably circulated, and thus, you know, we get more of it in a different version from Jesus. We could read a little more, but I'm going to take a break for that. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed. We're going to go back to the Dhammapada, which is more writings of the Buddha.
Neither praise nor blame moves the wise man. He is clarity. Hearing the truth, he is like a lake, pure and tranquil and deep. Want nothing. Where there is desire, say nothing. Happiness or sorrow, whatever befalls you, walk on, untouched, unattached. Do not ask for family or power or wealth, either for yourself or for another. Can a wise man wish to rise unjustly? Few cross over the river. Most are stranded on this side. On the river bank, they run up and down. But the wise man, following the way, crosses over beyond the reach of death. He leaves the dark way for the way of light. He leaves his home, seeking happiness on the hard road. Free from desire, free from possessions, free from the dark places of the heart, free from attachment and appetite, following the 7 lights of awakening and rejoicing greatly in his freedom. In this world, the wise man becomes himself a light, pure, shining, free.
Could we use your house to trial our 24-hour bathroom upgrade system? Looking for homeowners?
The master. At the end of the way, the master finds freedom from desire and sorrow, freedom without bounds. Those who awaken never rest in one place. Like swans, they rise and leave the lake. On the air they rise and fly an invisible course, gathering nothing, storing nothing. Their food is knowledge. They live upon emptiness. They have seen how to break free. Who can follow them? Only the master. Such is his purity. Like a bird, he rises on the limitless air and flies an invisible course. He wishes for nothing. His food is knowledge. He lives upon emptiness. He has broken free. He is the charioteer. He has tamed his horses, pride, and the senses. Even the gods admire him. Yielding like the earth, joyous and clear like the lake, still as the stone at the door, he is free from life and death. His thoughts are still. His words are still. His work is stillness. He sees his freedom and is free. The master surrenders his beliefs. He sees beyond the end and the beginning. He cuts all ties. He gives up all his desires. He resists all temptations. And he rises. And wherever he lives, in the city or the country, in the valley or in the hills, there is great joy. Even in the empty forest, he finds joy because he wants nothing. The thousands. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Better than 1,000 hollow verses is one verse that brings peace. Better than 100 hollow lines is one line of the law bringing peace. It is better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. Then the victory is yours. It cannot be taken from you, not by angels or by demons, heaven or hell. Better than 100 years of worship, better than 1,000 offerings, better than giving up 1,000 worldly ways in order to win merit. Better even than tending in the forest a sacred flame for 100 years is one moment's reverence for the man who has conquered himself. To revere such a man, a master old in virtue and holiness, is to have victory over life itself and beauty, strength and happiness. Better than 100 years of mischief is one day spent in contemplation. Better than 100 years of ignorance is one day spent in reflection. Better than 100 years of idleness is one day spent in determination. Better to live one day wondering how all things arise and pass away. Better to live 1 hour seeing the one life beyond the way. Better to live one moment in the moment of the way beyond the way. Mischief. Be quick to do good. If you are slow, the mind, delighting in mischief, will catch you. Turn away from mischief again and again. Turn away before sorrow befalls you. Set your heart on doing good. Do it over and over again, and you will be filled with joy. A fool is happy until his mischief turns against him, and a good man may suffer until his goodness flowers. Do not make light of your failings, saying, "What are they to me?" A jug fills drop by drop, so the fool becomes brimful of folly. Do not belittle your virtues, saying they are nothing. A jug fills drop by drop, so the wise man becomes brimful of virtue. As the rich merchant with few servants shuns a dangerous road, and the man who loves life shuns poison, beware the dangers of folly and mischief. For an unwounded hand may handle poison, the innocent come to no harm. But as dust thrown against the wind, mischief is blown back in the face of the fool who wrongs the pure and harmless. Some are reborn in hell, some in this world, the good in heaven, but the pure are not reborn. Nowhere. Not in the sky, nor in the midst of the sea, nor deep in the mountains can you hide from your own mischief. Not in the sky, nor in the midst of the ocean, nor deep in the mountains. Nowhere can you hide from your own death.
Kevin Anderson's writers and editors made a masterpiece out of my story and created a strong book proposal to go with it. Thanks to their expertise and Kevin Anderson's connections in the publishing industry, my proposal was put in front of an incredible team of literary agents who were able to get me a book deal with Bay Street, a HarperCollins imprint. I'm a relatively unknown author with no built-in audience to sell thousands of books to, but within a few months, I was a best-selling author, and my book, Blue Collar Cash, would not have had the reach, the readership, or the national media exposure it has without all the people Kevin Anderson had assembled at KAA. It's because of their team that I can say I have a best-selling book that's worth your time to read. And I know they can do the same for you.
Violence. All beings tremble before violence. All fear death. All love life. See yourself in others. Then whom can you hurt? What harm can you do? He who seeks happiness by hurting those who seek happiness will never find happiness. For your brother is like you. He wants to be happy. Never harm him, and when you leave this life, you too will find happiness. Never speak harsh words, for they will rebound upon you. Angry words hurt, and the hurt rebounds. Like a broken gong, be still, be silent. Know the stillness of freedom, where there is no more striving. Like herdsmen driving their cows into the fields, old age and death will drive you before them. But the fool in his mischief forgets, and he lights the fire wherein one day he must burn. He who harms the harmless or hurts the innocent, 10 times shall he fall, into torment or infirmity, injury or disease or madness, persecution or fearful accusation, loss of family, loss of fortune. Fire from heaven shall strike his house, and when his body has been struck down, he shall rise in hell. He who goes naked with matted hair, mud bespattered, who fasts and sleeps on the ground and smears his body with ashes, and sits in endless meditation, so long as he is not free from doubts, he will not find freedom. But he who lives purely and self-assured in quietness and virtue, who is without harm or hurt or blame, even if he wears fine clothes, so long as he also has faith, he is a true seeker. A noble horse rarely feels the touch of the whip. Who is there in this world as blameless? Then, like a noble horse, smart under the whip, burn and be swift, believe, meditate, see, be harmless, be blameless, awake to the law, and from all sorrow free yourself. The farmer channels water to his land, the fletcher whittles his arrows, the carpenter turns his wood, and the wise man masters himself. Old age. The world is on fire, and are you laughing? You are deep in the dark. Will you not ask for light? For behold your body, a painted puppet, a toy, jointed and sick, and full of false imaginings, a shadow that shifts and fades. How frail it is, frail and pestilent. It sickens, festers, and dies. Like every living thing, in the end, it sickens and dies. Behold these whitened bones, the hollow shells and husks of a dying summer. And are you laughing? You are a house of bones, flesh and blood for plaster. Pride lives in you, and hypocrisy, decay, and death. The glorious chariots of kings are shattered, so also the body turns to dust. But the spirit of purity is changeless, and so the pure instruct the pure. The ignorant man is an ox. He grows in size, not in wisdom. Vainly I sought the builder of my house through countless lives. I could not find him. How hard it is to tread life after life. But now I see you, O builder, and never again shall you build my house. I have snapped the rafters, split the ridgepole, and beaten out desire, and now my mind is free. There are no fish in the lake. The long-legged cranes stand in the water. Sad is the man who in his youth lived loosely and squandered his fortune. Sad as a broken bow, and sadly is he sighing after all that has arisen and has passed away. Yourself. Love yourself and watch. Today, tomorrow, always. First, establish yourself in the way. Then teach, and so defeat sorrow. To straighten the crooked, you must first do a harder thing. Straighten yourself. You are your only master. Who else? Subdue yourself and discover your master. Willfully, you have fed your own mischief. Soon it will crush you as the diamond crushes stone. By your own folly, you will be brought as low as your worst enemy wishes. So the creeper chokes the tree. How hard it is to serve yourself. How easy to lose yourself in mischief and folly. The kashtari dies when it bears fruit. So the fool, scorning the teachings of the awakened, spurning those who follow the law, perishes when his folly flowers. Mischief is yours, sorrow is yours, but virtue also is yours, and purity. You are the source of all purity and all impurity. No one purifies another. Never neglect your work for another's, however great his need. Your work is to discover your work, and then, with all your heart, to give yourself to it.
Should say. Now, if you go to a place like Saudi Arabia or the UAE or Qatar, if I was to say, God damn it, is that train? And a police officer heard that, that is a jailable offense. How dare you speak like that? You don't have anything similar to freedom of speech there. And, you know, is that necessary? Hold on. But is that necessarily bad where you basically, these are modern, where you have monarchs and there is no democracy? I can't say it's bad they don't allow cursing in public.
I mean, as it is, and death shall overlook you. Come, consider the world. A painted chariot for kings, a trap for fools. But he who sees goes free. As the moon slips from behind a cloud and shines, so the master comes out from behind his ignorance and shines. This world is in darkness. How few have eyes to see. How few the birds who escape the net and fly to heaven. Swans rise and fly toward the sun. What magic! So do the pure conquer the armies of illusion and rise and fly. If you scoff at heaven and violate the law, if your words are lies, where will your mischief end? The fool laughs at generosity. The miser cannot enter heaven. But the master finds joy in giving, and happiness is his reward. And more, for greater than all the joys of heaven and of earth, greater still than dominion over all the worlds, is the joy of reaching. The man who is awake, he is awake. The victory is his. He has conquered the world. How can he lose the way who is beyond the way? His eye is open, his foot is free. Who can follow after him? The world cannot reclaim him or lead him astray, nor can the poison net of desire hold him. He is awake. The gods watch over him. He is awake and finds joy in the stillness of meditation and in the sweetness of surrender. Hard it is to be born. Hard it is to live. Harder still to hear of the way, and hard to rise, follow, and awake. Yet the teaching is simple. Do what is right. Be pure. At the end of the way is freedom. Till then, patience. If you wound or grieve another, you have not learned detachment. Offend in neither word nor deed. Eat with moderation. Live in your heart. Seek the highest consciousness. Master yourself according to the law. This is the simple teaching of the awakened. The rain could turn to gold, and still your thirst would not be slaked. Desire is unquenchable, or it ends in tears, even in heaven. He who wishes to awake consumes his desires joyfully. In his fear, a man may shelter in mountains, or in forests, in groves of sacred trees, or in shrines. But how can he hide there from his sorrow? He who shelters in the way and travels with those who follow it comes to see the four great truths concerning sorrow, the beginning of sorrow, the eightfold way, and the end of sorrow. Then, at last, he is safe. He has shaken off sorrow. He is free. The awakened are few and hard to find. Happy is the house where a man awakes. Blessed is his birth. Blessed is the teaching of the way. Blessed is the understanding among those who follow it. And blessed is their determination. And blessed are they who revere the man who awakes and follows the way. They are free from fear. They are free. They have crossed over the river of sorrow.
Co-payment, co-insurance, are you confused? Let me break it down. Co-payment is a fixed flat amount. Co-insurance is a percentage. You may have a $20 co-pay for a doctor visit, or you may have a 20% co-insurance for a procedure. Take a look at your plan
There's no peace in this world where you're trying to listen to the Dhammapada and you get hit with another Medicare Medicaid ad.
Joy. Live in joy, in love, even among those who hate. Live in joy, in health, even among the afflicted. Live in joy, in peace, even among the troubled. Live in joy without possessions, like the shining ones. The winner sows hatred because the loser suffers. Let go of winning and losing and find joy. There is no fire like passion, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no sickness like hunger, and no joy like the joy of freedom. Health, contentment, and trust are your greatest possessions, and freedom your greatest joy. Look within. Be still. Free from fear and attachment. Know the sweet joy of the way. How joyful to look upon the awakened and to keep company with the wise. How long the road to the man who travels with a fool, but whoever follows those who follow the way discovers his family and is filled with joy. Follow then the shining ones, the wise, the awakened, the loving, for they know how to work and forbear. Follow them as the moon follows the path of the stars. Pleasure. Do not let pleasure distract you from meditation, from the way. Free yourself from pleasure and pain, for in craving pleasure or in nursing pain, there is only sorrow. Like nothing, lest you lose it, lest it bring you grief and fear. Go beyond likes and dislikes. From passion and desire, sensuousness and lust, arise grief and fear. Free yourself from attachment. He is pure and sees. He speaks the truth and lives it. He does his own work. So he is admired and loved. With a determined mind and undesiring heart, he longs for freedom. He is called Udam Soto, he who goes upstream. When a traveler at last comes home from a far journey, with what gladness his family and his friends receive him. Even so shall your good deeds welcome you like friends, and with what rejoicing when you pass from this life to the next. Anger. Let go of anger. Let go of pride. When you are bound by nothing, you go beyond sorrow. Anger is like a chariot careering wildly. He who curbs his anger is the true charioteer. Others merely hold the reins. With gentleness, overcome anger. With generosity, overcome meanness. With truth, overcome deceit. Speak the truth. Give whatever you can. Never be angry. These 3 steps will lead you into the presence of the gods. The wise harm no one. They are masters of their bodies, and they go to the boundless country. They go beyond sorrow. Those who seek perfection keep watch by day and night till all desires vanish. Listen, Achula, this is not new. It is an old saying. They blame you for being silent. They blame you when you talk too much and when you talk too little. Whatever you do, they blame you. The world always finds a way to praise and a way to blame. It always has, and it always will. But who dares blame the man whom the wise continually praise, whose life is virtuous and wise, who shines like a coin of pure gold? Even the gods praise him, even Brahma praises him. Beware of the anger of the body. Master the body, let it serve truth. Beware of the anger of the mouth. Master your words, let them serve truth. Beware of the anger of the mind. Master your thoughts, let them serve truth. The wise have mastered body, word, and mind. They are the true masters. Impurity. You are as the yellow leaf. The messengers of death are at hand. You are to travel far away. What will you take with you? You are the lamp to lighten the way. Then hurry, hurry. When your light shines without impurity or desire, you will come into the boundless country.
From chaos to comfort. We're here for it all. Kind thread.
Introducing the all-new Acrobat Studio. With back-to-school joy also comes with a million handouts. I'm not sweating it, and let me tell you why. Quickly get insights from docs, create content, and have access to all the PDF tools, all in one place. So I collect all my back-to-school PDFs. I can even include web links, Word docs, PowerPoints, and a bunch more file types. I upload them, and this creates a PDF space. This space is going to be called Database. Database. Share this PDF space with my wife, and now we have a personalized hub, a central.
Okay, I'm going to read from the Dhammapada, which is what you've been listening to, just for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go back to sitting in the sun. Om. Mind is the forerunner of all actions. All deeds are led by mind, created by mind, If one speaks or acts with a corrupt mind, suffering follows, as the wheel follows the hoof of an ox pulling a cart. Mind is the forerunner of all actions. All deeds are led by mind, created by mind. If one speaks or acts with a serene mind, happiness follows, as surely as one's shadow. He abused me, mistreated me, defeated me, robbed me. Harboring such thoughts keeps hatred alive. He abused me, mistreated me, defeated me, robbed me. Releasing such thoughts banishes hatred for all time. Animosity does not eradicate animosity. Only by loving kindness is animosity dissolved. This law is ancient and eternal. Om. There are those who are aware that they are always facing death. Knowing this, they put aside all quarrels. The one who lives for sensation, indulgent in eating, lazy, and lacking in energy, the tempter Mara breaks. Just as the wind breaks a frail tree. Subnote Mara. In Buddhist scripture, Mara is a metaphor for temptations or passions personified, being neither male nor female, hence the use of tempter. The one who lives mindfully, senses under control, moderate in eating, devout, energetic, cannot be overthrown by Mara, just as the wind cannot shake a rocky mountain. The monk's robe does not in itself render one free from stain. If the one who wears that robe is lacking in self-control and honesty, he is unworthy of such a robe. Only one who is free from stain, well-disciplined, honest, and endowed with self-control is worthy of the monk's robe. Those who fail to distinguish the non-essential from the essential, and the essential from the non-essential, will, in feeding on wrong thoughts, fail to attain the essential. On the other hand, those who correctly perceive the essential as essential and the non-essential as non-essential will, in feeding on right thoughts, attain the essential. As rain pours through badly thatched houses, so does desire penetrate the undeveloped mind. As rain fails to pour through a well-thatched house, so does desire fail to penetrate the well-developed mind. For the doer of evil there is only grief, here as well as hereafter. In both states, he experiences grief, seeing his own unwholesome acts. For the doer of good deeds there is rejoicing, here as well as hereafter. Joy and more joy are his, as he sees his own right action. The doer of evil reaps suffering, here and hereafter. In both states, remembering I have committed evil, not only here, but hereafter. He experiences more suffering because he has gone to a state of suffering. The doer of good deeds reaps happiness here and hereafter. In both states, remembering I have done good deeds, and there is more joy because he has gone to a blissful state. Careless person, quoting much of the scriptural text but not living it, cannot share the abundance of the holy life, just as the cowherd counting other people's cattle cannot taste the milk or ghee. Reciting a small portion of the scriptures, but putting it diligently into practice, letting go of passion, aggression, and confusion, revering the truth with a clear mind, and not clinging to anything, here or hereafter, brings the harvest of the holy life. Mindfulness is the path to immortality. Negligence is the path to death. The vigilant never die, whereas the negligent are the living dead. With this understanding, the wise, having developed a high degree of mindfulness, rejoice in mindfulness. Delighting in the domain of the noble ones. These awakened ones dedicated to meditation, striving actively and vigorously, attain nirvana, the ultimate security. The fame and fortune of the man who is vigorous, aware, unsullied, acting with consideration and restraint, become ever growing. The wise man, by vigor, mindfulness, restraint, self-control, creates for himself an island which no flood can submerge. The foolish, the unwise, surrender themselves to negligence, whereas the wise man protects mindfulness as his most valuable possession. Don't lose yourself in negligence. Don't lose yourself in sensuality. For it is the mindful and meditative man who will experience supreme happiness. When the enlightened man frees himself from careless behavior through mindfulness, free of sorrow, he gazes on the sorrowing masses, as one on the mountaintop gazes on the plain below. The mindful person among the mindless, the aware person among the unaware, surpasses the rest with his wisdom like a superb racehorse outstripping an old worn-out horse. By mindfulness did the Magavat, Lord of Two Realms, reach the position of authority among the gods. So vigilance is ever praised, and negligence ever disdained. A seeker, concentrating on mindfulness, advances like a fire, consuming the chains of bondage, both great and small. A monk or lay person, rejoicing in mindfulness, seeking the danger of negligence, cannot fall backwards and is close to nirvana. Hey, Concrete, I heard you talking in Chillism the other day. I was actually kind of impressed with what you were saying. I was enjoying it. but just for like 30 seconds or something. Maybe a minute. You had a good take on something. I don't remember what it was, but it was it was funny actually. It's kind of funny. Okay, this is the third chapter of the Dhammapada. Just as an arrowsmith shapes an arrow to perfection with fire, so does the wise man shape his mind, which is fickle, unsteady, vulnerable, and erratic. Like a fish taken from the safety of its watery home and cast upon the dry land, so does this mind flutter, due to the lure of the tempter. Therefore one should leave the dominion of Mara. How good it is to rein the mind, which is unruly, capricious, rushing wherever it pleases. The mind so harnessed will bring one happiness. A wise man should pay attention to his mind, which is very difficult to perceive. It is extremely subtle and wanders wherever it pleases. The mind, well guarded and controlled, will bring him happiness. One who keeps a rein on the wandering mind, which strays far and wide, alone, bodiless, will be freed from the tyranny of the tempter. A man of fickle mind will never attain wisdom to its fullest, since he is ignorant of the Dhamma and has wavering faith. The heart of the fully conscious man is fearless. He has freed his mind of lust and anger. He has transcended both good and evil. Observe this body as fragile as an earthen vase. Build a mind as solid as a fortified city. Then confront Mara with the weapon of insight. And proceeding without attachment, guard what you have already conquered. Certainly before long this body will lie on the ground, lifeless and unconscious, cast aside like a useless dog. Log. A mind out of control will do more harm than two angry men engaged in combat. A well-directed mind creates more well-being than the wholesome actions of parents toward their children. Flowers. Who can truly see this earth, this body, this world of human beings, as well as the realm of gods? Who is able to distill the wisdom of the Dhamma as skillfully as a designer of garlands selects choice flowers? Sakha, trainee on the first stage of perfection, is able to grasp this earth, the human world, the dwellings of the unhappy ones, as well as the realm of the gods. He can bring forth the shining truth of the Dhamma, even as a skillful gardener selects choice flowers. See this body is fragile and transient as foam. Know that it is an insubstantial as foam, and thereby destroy the tempter's flowery arrows. Put yourself beyond death's grasp. Just as a raging flood sweeps away a sleeping village, so does death claim a man of distracted mind. As he continually seeks more and more of life's fleeting pleasures, death drowns the unsatisfied man, whose restless mind clutches for greater and greater pleasures. A monk should dwell and act in the village like a bee extracting honey from the flower, but leaving the color and fragrance intact. Pay no attention to harsh words uttered by others. Do not be concerned with what others have or have not done. Observe your own actions and inactions. Like a beautiful, brightly colored flower without fragrance is the well-spoken word without action. Like a beautiful, brightly colored flower full of fragrance is the well-spoken word and the deed that matches the word. A man born to this world should do many good deeds, as a garland maker makes garlands from a heap of flowers. The scent of flowers is carried no farther than the wind allows, neither the sandalwood, tiger, nor jasmine, but the fragrance of the deeds of good men spreads to the ends of the earth in all directions, regardless of the wind. The aroma of sandalwood, tiger, lotus, or vasiki is excellent. Superior to these is the fragrance of right action, right speech, and right way of earning one's living.
Your life is falling away. Death is at hand. Where will you rest on the way? What have you taken with you? You are the lamp to lighten the way. Then hurry, hurry. When your light shines purely, you will not be born, and you will not die. As a silversmith sifts dust from silver, remove your own impurities, little by little. Or, as iron is corroded by rust, your own mischief will consume you. Neglected, the sacred verses rust, for beauty rusts without use, and unrepaired, the house falls into ruin, and the watch without vigilance fails. In this world and the next, there is impurity and impurity. When a woman lacks dignity, when a man lacks generosity, but the greatest impurity is ignorance. Free yourself from it. Be pure. Life is easy for the man who is without shame. Impudent as a crow, a vicious gossip, vain, meddlesome, dissolute. But life is hard for the man who quietly undertakes the way of perfection with purity, detachment, and vigor. He sees light. If you kill, lie, or steal, commit adultery, or drink, you dig up your own roots. And if you cannot master yourself, the harm you do turns against you grievously. You may give in the spirit of light, or as you please, but if you care how another man gives or how he withholds, you trouble your quietness endlessly. These envying roots, destroy them and enjoy a lasting quietness. There is no fire like passion. There are no chains like hate. Illusion is a net, desire a rushing river. How easy it is to see your brother's faults, how hard to face your own. You winnow his in the wind like chaff, but yours you hide like a cheat covering up an unlucky throw. Dwelling on your brother's faults multiplies your own. You are far from the end of your journey. The way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. See how you love whatever keeps you from your journey. But the Tathagatas, they who have gone beyond, have conquered the world. They are free. The way is not in the sky. The way is in the heart. All things arise and pass away, but the awakened awake forever.
What is up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding.
The just. If you determine your course with force or speed, you miss the way of the law. Quietly consider what is right and what is wrong, receiving all opinions equally, without haste, wisely, Observe the law. Who is wise, the eloquent or the quiet man? Be quiet and loving and fearless. Or the mind talks, but the body knows. Gray hairs do not make a master. A man may grow old in vain. The true master lives in truth, in goodness and restraint, non-violence, moderation, and purity. Fine words or fine features cannot make a master out of a jealous and greedy man. Only when envy and selfishness are rooted out of him may he grow in beauty. A man may shave his head, but if he still lies and neglects his work, if he clings to desire and attachment, how can he follow the way? The true seeker subdues all waywardness. He has submitted his nature to quietness. He is a true seeker, not because he begs, but because he follows the lawful way, holding back nothing, holding to nothing. Beyond good and beyond evil, beyond the body and beyond the mind. Silence cannot make a master out of a fool, but he who weighs only purity in his scales, who sees the nature of the two worlds, he is a master. He harms no living thing. And yet, it is not good conduct that helps you upon the way, nor ritual, nor book learning, nor withdrawal into the self, nor deep meditation. None of these confers mastery or joy. Oh, seeker, rely on nothing until you want nothing. The way. The way is eightfold. There are four truths. All virtue lies in detachment. The master has an open eye. This is the only way to the opening of the eye. Follow it. Outwit desire. Follow it to the end of sorrow. When I pulled out sorrow's shaft, I showed you the way. It is you who must make the effort. The masters only point the way. But if you meditate and follow the law, you will free yourself from desire. Everything arises and passes away. When you see this, you are above sorrow. This is the shining way. Existence is sorrow. Understand and go beyond sorrow. This is the way of brightness. Existence is illusion. Understand. Go beyond. This is the way of clarity. You are strong. You are young. It is time to arise. So, arise, lest through irresolution and idleness you lose the way. Master your words. Master your thoughts. Never allow your body to do harm. Follow these three roads with purity, and you will find yourself upon the one way, the way of wisdom. Sit in the world. Sit in the dark. Sit in meditation. Sit in light. Choose your seat. Let wisdom grow. Cut down the forest, not the tree, for out of the forest comes danger. Cut down the forest, fell desire, and set yourself free. While a man desires a woman, his mind is bound as closely as a calf to its mother. As you would pluck an autumn lily, pluck the arrow of desire. For he who is awake has shown you the way of peace. Give yourself to the journey. Here shall I make my dwelling in the summer and the winter and in the rainy season. So the fool makes his plans, sparing not a thought for his death. Death overtakes the man who, giddy and distracted by the world, cares only for his flocks and his children. Death fetches him away as a flood carries off a sleeping village. His family cannot save him, not his father, nor his sons. Know this. Seek wisdom and purity. Quickly clear the way. Out of the forest, there is pleasure and there is bliss. Forego the first to possess the second. If you are happy at the expense of another man's happiness, you are forever bound. You do not what you should. You do what you should not. You are reckless, and desire grows. But the master is wakeful. He watches his body. In all his actions, he discriminates, and he becomes pure.
Heard some myths about Medicare out on the course lately? Myth. You can sign up at any time. Learn more about your annual enrollment period options today.
The poorer you are, the more likely your friends are to be people from your neighborhood. While the wealthier you are, the more likely your friends are to be people from college. All of which means that, yes, the key to social mobility is for disadvantaged people to get out of their bubbles. But it also means that wealthy people have to get out of their bubbles too. Research finds that social settings that draw people from all different backgrounds together, places like religious institutions, for example, are the places most likely to create these friendships across class lines. Which sounds pretty appealing, doesn't it? By just getting to know people who aren't like us, we may actually be creating a better country. So maybe we should all be looking for more opportunities to connect. It doesn't matter whether it's a bowling league or a book club.
He is without blame, though once he may have murdered his mother and his father, 2 kings, a kingdom, and all its subjects. Though the kings were holy and their subjects among the virtuous, yet is he blameless. The followers of the awakened awake, and day and night they watch and meditate upon their master. Forever wakeful, they mind the law. They know their brothers on the way. They understand the mystery of the body. They find joy in all beings. They delight in meditation. It is hard to live in the world and hard to live out of it. It is hard to be one among many. And for the wanderer, how long is the road wandering through many lives? Let him rest. Let him not suffer. Let him not fall into suffering. If he is a good man, a man of faith, honored and prosperous, wherever he goes, he is welcome. Like the Himalayas, good men shine from afar, but bad men move unseen like arrows in the night. Sit, rest, work, alone with yourself, never weary. On the edge of the forest, live joyfully, without desire. The dark. One man denies the truth, another denies his own actions. Both go into the dark, and in the next world suffer, or they offend truth. Wear the yellow robe, but if you are reckless, you will fall into darkness. If you are reckless, better to swallow molten iron than eat at the table of good folk. If you court another man's wife, you court trouble. Your sleep is broken, you lose your honor, you fall into darkness. You go against the law, you go into the dark. Your pleasures end in fear, and the king's punishment is harsh. But as a blade of grass held awkwardly may cut your hand, so renunciation may lead you into the dark. For if in your renunciation you are reckless and break your word, if your purpose wavers, you will not find light. Do what you have to do, resolutely, with all your heart. A traveler who hesitates only raises dust on the road. It is better to do nothing than to do what is wrong. Or whatever you do to yourself. Like a border town well guarded, guard yourself within and without. Let not a single moment pass, lest you fall into darkness. Feel shame only where shame is due. Fear only what is fearful. See evil only in what is evil, lest you mistake the true way and fall into darkness. See what is. See what is not. Follow the true way. Rise.
At Domino's, we believe pizza deserves a proper +1. Burgers have fries. Pizza now has bread bites. Try our new savory garlic, new sweet cinnamon, or classic Parmesan. Pizza need new bread bites. Order today only at Domino's. IXL is helping 15 million students succeed in math and language arts. On IXL, your child can stay on track or get ahead by practicing with fun, interactive questions. Whether they learn best with step-by-step explanations, video tutorials, or games, IXL is here to guide them. Backed by over 75 scientific research studies, you can trust that you're choosing the best educational technology. Hand your child the keys to success. Join IXL today.
The elephant. I shall endure hard words as the elephant endures the shafts of battle. Or many people speak wildly. The tamed elephant goes to battle. The king rides him. The tamed man is the master. He can endure hard words in peace. Better than a mule or the fine horses of sin or mighty elephants of war is the man who has mastered himself. Not on their backs can he reach the untrodden country, but only on his own. The mighty elephant Danapalaka is wild when he is in rut, and when bound he will not eat, remembering the elephant grove. The fool is idle, he eats and he rolls in his sleep like a hog in a sty, and he has to live life over again.
Long is the night to the sleepless. Long is the road to the weary traveler. Long is the cycle of rebirths to the unwise who do not know the truth. Should a traveler fail to find a companion equal or better, rather than suffer the company of a fool, he should resolutely walk alone. I have children, I have wealth. These are empty claims of an unwise man. If he cannot call himself his own, how can he then claim children and wealth as his own? To the extent that a fool knows his foolishness, he may be deemed wise. A fool who considers himself wise is indeed a fool. A fool may associate with a wise man throughout his life and remain untouched by his wisdom, even as a spoon cannot taste the flavor of soup. On the other hand, an unaware man in a moment's meeting can learn from a wise man, even as the tongue tastes the flavor of soup. The unwise man, lacking understanding, behaves as if he were his own worst enemy, committing evil deeds that produce bitter fruit. It is unwise to do things that bring regret and require repentance, to cause suffering for oneself and a weeping and a tearful face. It is wise to do things which do not require repentance, but bring joy and fulfillment, happiness and delight, until he feels the effect. The fool rejoices in his evil deed. When the action reaches fruition, the fool harvests nothing but grief. Though the fool may practice asceticism, eating a speck of food on the tip of a blade of grass, He is not worth 1/16 of the Arahant, the knower of the Dhamma. An evil deed does not produce its results at once. It smolders slowly like a fire covered by ashes and finally consumes its doer, the fool. The things a fool gains amount to nothing. Wholesome acts cannot bring him wholesome results. What a fool hungers for is false fame, authority, power over others, and generous offerings. He seeks recognition as a doer, a wielder of power, a knower of right and wrong. His craving and pride are insatiable. There is a path that leads to worldly gain, another road to nirvana. Let the seeker, the disciple of Buddha, embracing seclusion, take the path to wisdom and enlightenment. The wise. If someone sees an intelligent person who is skillfully able to point out shortcomings and give suitable reproof, let him cherish such a revealer of hidden treasures. Only good can come from such an association. Let the wise one guide, correct, and deter others from what is base and vile. He will be treasured by the good and spurned by the evil. Do not choose bad friends. Do not choose persons of low habits. Select good friends. Be discriminating. Choose the best. Whoever drinks deeply of Dhamma lives happily, with a peaceful mind. The wise man rejoices in the Dhamma, taught by the holy ones. Irrigators contain the flowing waters. Arrowsmiths fashion arrows. Carpenters shape wood to their design. Wise men mold their characters. As a solid rock stands firm in the wind, even so is a wise man unmoved by praise or blame. As a deep lake remains still and clear, so do wise men, listening to the teachings, attain a serene mind. The good certainly cling to nothing. They do not talk aimlessly, concerned with personal gains. The wise, the saintly, whether experiencing comfort or discomfort, show neither elation nor depression. Not for one's own or another's gain should one commit an evil deed, regardless of the desire for children, wealth, a kingdom, or any other kind of success. One should remain virtuous, wise, and righteous. The few cross over to the far shore. The many merely run back and forth fruitlessly along the side of the stream. But only those who follow the carefully taught law can cross to the other shore, beyond the grasp of death so hard to overcome. Let the wise man shun the cauldron of confusion and proceed on the path of light. Let him leave the comfort of home, forsaking sensual pleasures, freeing himself from all obstacles, delighting in seclusion, not an ordinary man's choice, and devote himself to cleansing the blemishes of the mind. Those who have carefully cultivated their minds in tune with the elements of enlightenment, who without grasping delight and detachment, cleansed of all corruption and therefore shining brightly, send forth brilliant light. Om, the Arahant. There is no burning for him who has completed the journey, who is free of sorrows and all else, and who has broken off all chains. The mindful put forth great effort. They do not remain content in the household life, but leave their homes behind just as swans leave a muddy lake. Arahants do not hoard. Take a right view of eating, focused on deliverance and avoid. They leave no trace, like the path of birds in the sky. He who is free from obsessions, eating simply, clear-headed, and focused on liberation, like a migrating bird leaves no trace of a track in the sky. Even the gods delight in the presence of one who has freed himself from pride and mental obsessions, who has his senses under control, like horses trained by an expert trainer. Done with the round of rebirths, he is as accepting as the earth, as firm as a doorpost, placid as a pond, free of mud and dutiful. Whoever has reached the state of freedom through perfect wisdom, peaceful and unshakable, is nonviolent in his mind, his speech, his action. Whoever is in touch with the infinite, free of attachment, desireless, is the highest among men. Delightful is the place where the saints dwell, be it village or forest, cavern or open field. Delightful are forests where more worldly men find no joy, being free of the pull of desire. Saints who seek no worldly pleasures find delight in such places. Om. Thousands. Single wise word bringing peace to the listener is worth more than 1,000 speeches full of empty words. Single verse full of meaning, bringing peace to the listener, is worth more than 1,000 verses full of empty words. One may recite 100 verses full of vain descriptions, but a single verse bringing peace to the listener is worth far more. One may conquer 1,000,000 men in a single battle. However, the greatest and best warrior conquers himself. Conquest of oneself is the greatest victory of all. Neither a god, nor a heavenly musician, nor a mischievous angel of the highest of the 6 heavenly abodes, the Paranimita heaven, where sensual pleasures prevail, can deprive the self-anguished, restrained person of victory. The honor paid to the one who has achieved self-mastery for one single instant is worth more than monthly offerings of 1,000 pieces of gold. Honoring the one who has achieved self-mastery for one single instant is worth more than living in the forest, tending the sacred fire for 100 years. Making offerings for glory and recognition is not 1/4 as worthy as honoring the upright. Whoever shows reverence and respect for the aged is rewarded fourfold with long life, beauty, happiness, and strength. Even a single day of a life lived virtuously and meditatively is worth more than 100 years lived wantonly and without discipline. A single day's life of a wise and contemplative man is worth more than 100 years lived wantonly and without discipline. A single day's life of one who puts out great effort is better than a life of 100 years lived in idleness and sluggishness. A single day's life lived by a man who grasps the impermanence of all conditioned things is worth more than 100 years lived in blindness and ignorance. A single day's life of one who sees the deathless state is worth more than 100 years lived without perceiving it. A single day's life of one who sees the truth is worth more than 100 years of not seeing the truth. Om. This is called evil. Do not lose a moment of doing good. Protect your mind from evil. Whoever neglects doing good is inviting addiction to evil. If a man has mistakenly committed an evil deed, let him not repeat it. Let him not be addicted to evil, for it is the amassing of evil that brings misery. On the other hand, if a man does good, let him do it repeatedly. Let him put his heart into it, for the accumulation of good brings blessings. Even an evildoer feels happy before his negative actions reach fruition. However, when the evil ripens, he will have a bountiful harvest of evil results. A good man sees what is unwholesome before his good deeds reach fruition. However, when the good ripens, he will have a bountiful harvest of good results. Don't underestimate evil, saying, "It can't happen to me." As a pot slowly fills up with water drop by drop, so does the fool little by little become full of evil. Don't underestimate good, saying, "It can't happen to me." Water falling drop by drop will fill even a large pot. Likewise, the wise man, accumulating good little by little, becomes goodness itself. One should shun all evil as a merchant with treasure and a small caravan avoids a dangerous road, or as a man loving life shuns poison. If a man has a hand free of wounds, he can take poison in his hand. The poison cannot penetrate the hand that is free of wounds. Likewise, a man is not guilty when he acts with no evil intention. If someone harms an innocent person, one pure and free of guilt, evil results will fall upon the doer, like fine dust thrown against the wind. Some are reborn in a mother's womb. The evil doers are bound to miserable states. The doers of good are reborn to happy states. Those free of any stain go on to perfect peace. There is no place in the world, neither the sky, the sea, nor in mountain crevices, where an evil doer can hide, safe from the consequences of his action. There is no place in the world, neither in the sky, the sea, nor in mountain crevices, where one can escape the inevitability of death.
My own mind used to wander wherever pleasure or desire or lust led it, but now I have it tamed. I guide it as the keeper guides the wild elephant. Awake, be the witness of your thoughts. The elephant holds himself from the mud. In the same way, drag yourself out of your sloth. If the traveler can find a virtuous and wise companion, let him go with him joyfully and overcome the dangers of the way. But if you cannot find friend or master to go with you, travel on alone, like a king who has given away his kingdom, like an elephant in the forest. Travel on alone, rather than with a fool for company. Do not.
Okay, this is chapter 10, the rod. Everybody fears being struck by a rod. Everybody fears death. Therefore, knowing this feeling for others as for yourself, do not kill others or cause others to kill. Everybody fears being struck by a rod, life being dear to all. Therefore, knowing this feeling for others as for yourself, do not kill others or cause others to kill. If one pursuing happiness strikes living beings who also strive to live happily with a rod or other instrument, he will reap an unwholesome harvest. If one pursues his own happiness while causing no harm to other living beings who also strive to live happily, he will reap a wholesome harvest. Avoid harsh speech. Angry words backfire upon the speaker. By making yourself as still as a cracked cymbal, not retaliating, you achieve nirvana. As a cowherd leads the cattle to pasture, so do old age and death drive the life of all beings. The fool committing evil deeds realizes not their nature. The fool, due to his evil deeds, suffers as if scorched by fire. He who inflicts pain on the innocent comes to one of 10 calamities: pain, loss, injury, illness, insanity, danger from rulers, frightening accusations, loss of loved ones, loss of wealth. One of these will he experience. Fire will destroy his house after the destruction of his body. The same foolish man will go to an unhappy state, though he does penance through nakedness, with tangled hair covering body with mud, fasting, rubbing himself with ash, crouching in a posture of humility. None of these rites can purify a man who has not freed himself of doubt, regardless of attire or adornment. The guiltless one, calm, self-restrained, chaste and resolute, refraining totally from hurting living beings, is the Brahmin, the recluse, the monk. It is the rare being who is restrained by self-direction, who does not invite reproof, as a good horse does not invite the whip. Be like a good horse, touched gently by the whip. The horse moves forward with full power and energy. Have an abundance of confidence, good conduct, effort, concentration, be aware and attentive. Put aside this great mass of suffering. Those who would irrigate the land bring the water wherever they choose. Arrowsmiths fashion arrows, carpenters shape wood, the virtuous mold themselves.
Carry with you your mistakes. Do not carry your cares. Travel on alone, like an elephant in the forest. To have friends in need is sweet, and to share happiness, and to have done something good before leaving this life is sweet, and to let go of sorrow. To be a mother is sweet, and a father. It is sweet to live arduously, and to master yourself. Oh, how sweet it is to enjoy life living in honesty and strength. And wisdom is sweet, and freedom.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or any other type of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be movie buffs, athletes, jazz collectors,
Desire. If you sleep, desire grows in you like a vine in the forest. Like a monkey in the forest, you jump from tree to tree, never finding the fruit. From life to life, never finding peace. If you are filled with desire, your sorrows swell like the grass after the rain. But if you subdue desire, your sorrows fall from you like drops of water from a lotus flower. This is good counsel, and it is for everyone. As the grass is cleared for the fresh root, cut down desire, lest death after death crush you, as a river crushes the helpless reeds. For if the roots hold firm, a felled tree grows up again. If desires are not uprooted, sorrows grow again in you. 36 streams are rushing toward you, desire and pleasure and lust. Play in your imagination with them and they will sweep you away. Powerful streams, they flow everywhere. Strong vine, if you see it spring up, take care. Pull it out by the roots. Pleasures flow everywhere. You float upon them and are life to life. Like a hunted hare you run, the pursuer of desire pursued, harried from life to life. O seeker, give up desire. Shake off your chains. You have come out of the hollow into the clearing. The clearing is empty. Why do you rush back into the hollow? Desire is a hollow, and people say, look, he was free, but now he gives up his freedom. It is not iron that imprisons you, nor rope, nor wood, but the pleasure you take in gold and jewels and sons and wives. Soft fetters, yet they hold you down. Can you snap them? There are those who can, who surrender the world, forsake desire, and follow the way. O slave of desire, float upon the stream. Little spider, stick to your web, or else abandon your sorrows for the way. Abandon yesterday, and tomorrow, and today. Cross over to the farther shore, beyond life and death. Do your thoughts trouble you? Does passion disturb you? Beware of thirstiness, lest your wishes become desires, and desire binds you. Quieten your mind. Reflect. Watch. Nothing binds you. You are free. You are strong. You have come to the end, free from passion and desire. You have stripped the thorns from the stem. This is your last body. You are wise. You are free from desire, and you understand words and the stitching together of words, and you want nothing. Victory is mine. Knowledge is mine, and all purity, all surrender. I want nothing. I am free. I found my way. Whom shall I call teacher? The gift of truth is beyond giving, the taste beyond sweetness, the joy beyond joy. The end of desire is the end of sorrow. The fool is his own enemy. Seeking wealth, he destroys himself. Seek rather the other shore. Weeds choke the field. Passion poisons the nature of man, and hatred, illusion, and desire. Honor the man who is without passion, hatred, illusion, and desire. What you give to him will be given back to you, and more. The Seeker. Master your senses. What you taste and smell, what you see, what you hear. In all things, be a master of what you do and say and think. Be free. You are a seeker. Delight in the mastery of your hands and your feet, of your words and your thoughts. Delight in meditation and in solitude. Compose yourself. Be happy. You are a seeker. Hold your tongue. Do not exalt yourself, but lighten the way, for your words are sweet. Follow the truth of the way. Reflect upon it. Make it your own. Live it. It will always sustain you. Do not turn away what is given you, nor reach out for what is given to others, lest you disturb your quietness. Give thanks for what has been given you, however little. Be pure, never falter. You have no name and no form. Why miss what you do not have? The seeker is not sorry. Love and joyfully follow the way, the quiet way to the happy country. Seeker, empty the boat, lighten the load, passion and desire and hatred, and sail swiftly. There are 5 at the door to turn away, and 5 more, and there are 5 to welcome in. And when 5 have been left stranded on the shore, the seeker is called O Gati Nati, he who has crossed over. Seeker, do not be reckless. Meditate constantly, or you will swallow fire and cry out no more. If you are not wise, how can you steady the mind? If you cannot quieten yourself, what will you ever learn? How will you become free? With a quiet mind, come into that empty house, your heart, and feel the joy of the way beyond the world. Look within, the rising and the falling. What happiness! How sweet to be free! It is the beginning of life, of mastery and patience, of good friends along the way, of a pure and active life. So, live in love. Do your work. Make an end of your sorrows. Or see how the jasmine releases and lets fall its withered flowers. Let fall willfulness and hatred. Are you quiet? Quieten your body. Quieten your mind. You want nothing. Your words are still. You are still. By your own efforts, waken yourself. Watch yourself. And live joyfully. You are the master. You are the refuge. As a merchant breaks in a fine horse, master yourself. How gladly you follow the words of the awakened, how quietly, how surely you approach the happy country, the heart of stillness. However young, the seeker who sets out upon the way shines bright over the world. Like the moon, come out from behind the clouds, shine. The true master. Wanting nothing with all your heart, stop the stream. When the world dissolves, everything becomes clear. Go beyond this way or that way to the farther shore, where the world dissolves and everything becomes clear. Beyond this shore and the farther shore, beyond the beyond, where there is no beginning, no end, without fear, go. Meditate. Live purely. Be quiet. Do your work with mastery. By day the sun shines and the warrior in his armor shines. By night the moon shines and the master shines in meditation. But day and night the man who is awake shines in the radiance of the spirit. A master gives up mischief. He is serene. He leaves everything behind him. He does not take offense and he does not give it. He never returns evil for evil. Alas for the man who raises his hand against another, and even more for him who returns the blow. Resist the pleasures of life and the desire to hurt till sorrows vanish. Never offend by what you think or say or do. Honor the man who is awake and shows you the way. Honor the fire of his sacrifice. Matted hair or family or caste do not make a master. but the truth and goodness with which he is blessed. Your hair is tangled and you sit on a deerskin. What folly, when inside you are ragged with lust. The master's clothes are in tatters. His veins stand out. He is wasting away. Alone in the forest, he sits and meditates. A man is not born to mastery. A master is never proud. He does not talk down to others. Owning nothing, he misses nothing. He is not afraid. He does not tremble. Nothing binds him. He is infinitely free. So cut through the strap and the thong and the rope. Loosen the fastenings. Unbolt the doors of sleep and awake. The master endures insults and ill treatment without reacting. For his spirit is an army. He is never angry. He keeps his promises. He never strays. He is determined. This body is my last, he says. Like water on the leaf of a lotus flower, or a mustard seed on the point of a needle, he does not cling. For he has reached the end of sorrow and has laid down his burden. He looks deeply into things and sees their nature. He discriminates and reaches the end of the way. He does not linger with those who have a home or with those who stray. Wanting nothing, he travels on alone. He hurts nothing, he never kills. He moves with love among the unloving, with peace and detachment among the hungry and querulous. Like a mustard seed from the point of a needle, hatred has fallen from him, and lust, hypocrisy, and pride. He offends no one, yet he speaks the truth. His words are clear, but never harsh. Whatever is not his, he refuses, good or bad, great or small. He wants nothing from this world, and nothing from the next. He is free. Desiring nothing, doubting nothing, beyond judgment and sorrow and the pleasure of the senses, he is moved beyond time. He is pure and free. How clear he is. He is the moon. He is serene. He shines. For he has traveled life after life, the muddy and treacherous road of illusion. He does not tremble or grasp or hesitate. He has found peace. Calmly, he lets go of life, of home, and pleasure, and desire. Nothing of men can hold him. Nothing of the gods can hold him. Nothing in all creation can hold him. Desire has left him, never to return. Sorrow has left him, never to return. He is calm. In him the seed of renewing life has been consumed. He has conquered all the inner worlds. With dispassionate eye he sees everywhere the falling and the uprising. And with great gladness he knows that he has finished. He has woken from his sleep. And the way he has taken is hidden from men, even from spirits and gods, by virtue of his purity. In him there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today. Possessing nothing, wanting nothing, he is full of power. Fearless, wise, exalted, he has vanquished all things. He sees by virtue of his purity. He has come to the end of the way, over the river of his many lives, his many deaths, beyond the sorrow of hell, beyond the great joy of heaven, by virtue of his purity. He has come to the end of the way. All that he had to do, he has done. And now, he is one. Afterward, written and read by Jacob Needleman. campaign, with great generals dispersed abroad, their huge armies and infinitely variegated weaponry converging upon the enemy, the ego, under some divinely conceived master strategy.
Okay, this is called Old Age. Can there be joy and laughter when always the world is ablaze, shrouded in darkness? Should you not seek light? Look at the body adorned, a mass of wounds draped upon a heap of bones, a sickly thing, the subject of sensual thoughts. Neither permanent nor enduring, the body wears out, a nest of disease, fragile, disintegrating, ending in death. What delight is there in seeing the bleached bones like gourds thrown away, dried and scattered in the autumn sun? A citadel is this structure of bones, blood and flesh, within which dwell decay, death, conceit, and malice. The royal chariots surely come to decay, just as the body too comes to decay. But the shining truth and loving kindness lives on. So speak the virtuous to the virtuous. The unwise person grows large in body. Though he becomes large physically, his mind remains small. How many lives, how many rounds of rebirth have I experienced without finding the builder of this house? Now I see you, oh builder. All of your rafters are broken. Your ridgepole is shattered. Never again need you build a house for me. My mind has gone beyond the transitory, the conditioned, and has achieved the extinction of craving. Those who do not find their way to a higher life, or who fail to earn wealth during their youth, look back with regret in their old age. Like large old wading birds beside a dried pond, having attained neither the higher life of the seeker, nor having acquired wealth and power in their youth, they lie like spent arrows that have missed their mark, bewailing the misspent past. Self. If a man holds himself in high esteem, let him be vigilant. A careful observer, day and night, during any of the 3 watches of life. First, one must establish one's own high moral principles, then preach to others. Very difficult it is to restrain oneself. Let one mold himself in accordance with the precepts he teaches. There can be no gap in credibility and no disgrace. Only the self shelters the self. What shelter could there be outside the self? With oneself thoroughly tamed, one gains a shelter rare, as a diamond bores a softer gem. So does the evil committed by a fool crush the doer, as a strangling vine chokes a tree. So does a person's unwholesome action destroy him, to the delight of his enemy. Unwholesome action, hurting self, comes easily. Wholesome action, healing self, takes effort. A foolish man clings to wrong views, mocks the teachings of the righteous, Such a person reaps what he sows, inviting ruin and destruction, like the fruit-bearing bamboo tree. By oneself is evil done. By oneself is one made impure. By oneself is evil undone. By oneself is one made pure. Each one is responsible for purity and impurity. No one can cleanse another. One should not neglect one's own moral good for the sake of another's. Learn first before teaching another's. Let each one embrace his own truth and devote himself to its fulfillment. Om. This is called the world. Do not follow low practices. Do not live carelessly. Do not hold wrong views. Do not prolong the suffering of the world. Lift yourself up. Be attentive. Act virtuously. One who does good deeds lives happily, both in this life and the life to come. Act righteously. Refuse to do otherwise. One who follows this path lives happily, both in this life and the life to come. Perceive the world as a bubble. Perceive the world as a mirage. If you see the world in this way, you render the Lord of Death powerless. Look at the body as a royal chariot, to which the ignorant cling while the wise let go. Whoever moves from carelessness to vigilance lights up the world like the moon that emerges from a cloud. Whoever overcomes his unwholesome deeds with wholesome actions illuminates the world like the moon emerging from a cloud. There is blindness all around. Only very few can see. Many are like birds trapped in a net. Only few escape and achieve liberation. Swans fly in the sky. Those possessed of psychic powers glide through the air. The wise, conquering self, proceed to nirvana. A man who violates even one spiritual law, who is dishonest and telling lies, unconcerned with the life hereafter, there is no evil such a one dares not do. Those closed off from generosity do not enter the realm of gods. Fools do not praise generosity. The wise rejoice in generosity, and by that will be happy after death. Better than the sole rulership over the world, better than going to heaven, better than lordship over all the worlds, is the fruition of the stream winner's path. Om.
Compared to this, Buddhism appears upon the Indian scene as a direct, hand-to-hand attack with no holds barred, striking instantly and mercilessly at the enemy's weakest point. By and large, Buddhism has retained this quality of one-pointed practicality, even amid the later flowering of the metaphysics and mythology which, in all of its aspects, rivals the entirety of Hinduism. Put succinctly, the Buddha, who is understood to have lived and taught in the 6th century BC, taught that the principal cause of all human suffering and desolation is the deeply ingrained belief that there is such a thing as a self or ego that persists through time and change. Everything else in Buddhism is art, philosophy, rituals, and techniques originated as tools for the destruction of man's illusion that he is a self. This doctrine of no self, or non-atma, is, as he said, the diamond which cuts through all errors and confusions of humanity. According to this teaching, everything in human nature is in flux, and a man's without self, without a fixed nature that abides from moment to moment. In the endless and rigorously determined chain of cause and effect that constitutes the universe, we human beings fail by fixing our interest or desire upon one or another phenomenal aggregate, either within ourself or external to ourself. Therein is the root of all our sorrow. What can liberate us is the deep and thorough understanding of all things, including the personality, as causally determined processes of becoming. Consciousness, meaning the totality of thought, feeling, perception, sensation, pleasure, and pain, is not a being, but a passion, not an activity, but only a sequence of reactions in which we, who have no power to be either as or when we will, are fatally involved. Individuality is motivated by and perpetuated by wanting, and the cause of all wanting is ignorance. For we ignore that the objects of our desire can never be possessed in any real sense of the word, ignore that even when we have got what we want, we still want to keep it and are still in the state of desire. The ignorance meant is of things as they really are, and the consequent attribution of substantiality to what is merely phenomenal. The seeing of self in what is not self. At first glance, this doctrine of no self seems in direct opposition to the Hindu view. But if there is any general view,
as opposed to dereliction of duty or just like negligence on the part of the police, not the privileging of like Asian rape gangs and things like this.
with which the Buddhist doctrine conflicts, it is surely our own Western worldview, as embodied not only in
Time, there is certain area that talk like that. Does that make sense?
Are included, which, by the way, from Alaska, you can see Russia from your backyard. Nearly a year after the 2024 election, while personal stress levels hover around 5 on a scale of 1 to 10 on average, collective anxiety about the nation's direction has reached a troubling height. 75%, that's 3 of 4. That means everyone on this stage, or many people on this stage, the majority of us, if we're normal, if we're typical of the study, 75% of adults say they're more stressed about the country's future than they used to be. Political tensions show no signs of letting up. 76% of adults called the future of the nation a significant source of stress, a number that has held steady since before the 2024 election, when it stood at 77%. So we're down a point. The persistence of this anxiety, regardless of which party controls the White House or Congress, suggests Americans are grappling with something deeper than partisan politics. When asked to choose words that best represent America today, survey respondents revealed a country wrestling with its own identity. Freedom topped the list at 41%, but corruption came in close behind at 38%. Opportunity hit 37%, while division landed at 36%. Hope and fear nearly tied at 35 and 32. Beyond abstract concerns, societal divisions hitting home in personal ways. 62% of Americans call it a significant stressor in their lives, and that stress is associated with deeper feelings of isolation. Among adults who cited division as a major source of stress, 61% reported feeling isolated from others. Compare that to just 43% among those not stressed by division. Similar gaps showed up for feeling left out, 57% versus 39%, and lacking companionship, 54% versus 54%. There's other stuff in the study. I can invite you all to skim it, but wow, not the greatest sort of readout of the country. And again, these numbers are pre-Trump, right? So, maybe it would have gone down if Kamala would have won the election. Maybe it would have, we don't know. But it did go down 1 point. When Biden was in office, it was 77. Right now it's at 76. So who knows? Maybe he's making us 1% less stressed again. I don't know. But Marshall, let's go to you, followed by Howard. Marshall, what do you think of this? Why do 2/3 of young people want to leave the country? Why are so many people anxious and troubled? Are you troubled, Marshall? Speak to us, Marshall, with the peace of Christ.
I keep optimistic for my own sanity. I believe there's a way to fix the system. I believe you can do it through voting, organizing, campaigning. I think young people probably don't feel like they have a place where like they can affect something. Part of that's due to the way the political system works, but part of that is, I think, due to this feeling amongst young people that things aren't working right. I don't know. People are more than welcome to leave the country, but if you leave the country at its worst, how can you ever take the country at its best? If you leave when things are bad instead of trying to fix them, unless it's for other reasons, that's giving up on the American experiment. It gives that up, and I personally am not ready to get rid of that goal that we can all live together. I think I'm being a little judgy here about young people wanting to leave the country, but as I think you stay and you fix it, and it's not like we're in Mussolini's Italy or Pol Pot's Cambodia. We have options, and people can avail themselves of those options. I think a feeling of isolation, I think a feeling of things not working correctly creates general angst. And that general angst, I think, affects young people. Growing up around computers in a way that millennials did not has made young people, I think their minds are a little short-circuited. Well, short attention span, but most Americans are that way. I don't know. I think ultimately there is this feeling that America is not going to be well. And I think the feeling that we're not going to be well drives a lot of these people to want to leave. And as I said, I think you stay and you fix the country. You don't leave it. Now, if you want to do that because you want to live in Cambodia, fine. I don't think there are large communities of expats all around the world. But the idea of giving up on one's country or the experiment, it is something that it's not a place I can get to. I don't think you give up. Maybe I'm phrasing that incorrectly, but it feels like people are giving up.
Marshall, I'm interesting. It says that 69% of adults say they needed more emotional support this year than they received. Are you in that category? Do you think that you've needed more emotional support than you've received this year?
I have a very good support system. So I have some really good friends from college I can talk to. I have some really good friends that I do politics stuff with down here. I have parents that are always encouraging and very loving. So while I have depression, I don't, I would say I haven't gotten enough hugs, but that's that's just, I don't know. Hugs are nice. So I don't know. I'm not really in that basket of super disturbed. There's also a part of me, because of my optimism, I don't think the country will give up. I think we'll fight for it. But yeah, I'm not among that group of people who need more emotional support. I have a wonderful system.
Well, everybody, you heard it here first. What do you take from that? Marshall's doing great. Maybe we should all become Presbyterians and move to the border. Howard, followed by, Alan's running a business, so Howard, we're going to go. Howard, followed by Tiger. Howard, how are you doing? How are you all? Hey. What do you think of this planned exodus or desired exodus of the young people?
By the way, Scott, great find, and I love Drudge, so he's always a good resource. That's, for whatever reason, I tend to forget about him, so I'm glad you brought that to awareness again. Yeah, where my mind's going on this is basically, call it the personal focus groups I've had, whether it's with my kids, their friends, my nieces and nephews all across the country, kids of friends, and I think there's, the data would support. I think a big part of it is also this. It's not only perception, but it is reality. So the perception is that the previous generations had it actually much better than the current generation. And a lot of it is economic pressure. When you think about student debt, if someone did go to college and took on debt, combined with the cost of living with rental properties, and many markets, it's actually more economic to own something than rent something. But if I can't save because I'm just loaded with debt, I kind of feel like I'm starting out in the beginning behind the eight ball, which previous generations didn't have. I mean, there was always challenges, but perhaps not as much as what we see today. And then compound that with what you're talking about, Scott, with whatever, putting any political situation aside, but with AI and corporate layoffs. And I just think a lot of it is driven by economic uncertainty and economic pressures that you could understand a younger American looking to say, hey, could, I go to Costa Rica or Portugal or somewhere where maybe I've got just a better chance to have a better quality of life. And I think it's less about politics. I mean, clearly the Critical Thinking Forum is very much politically focused, but the average rank and file American, they're not paying attention to the politics. A lot of them aren't. I think it's just the day-to-day survival of what it's like to live in modern America with all the economic pressures on it. So that's where my mind's going on this one, Scott. I think it's a great and timely topic, and look forward to other people's thoughts and perspectives too. So appreciate it.
Howard, I want to ask, you said something about young people feeling like they can't get ahead, can't afford, to even get a footing. They're in debt. Tucker Carlson is becoming weird, wild, and crazy and interesting. But he has said the problem with the country is affordability. That his kids, young people just don't imagine they could ever afford a house. Do you think this is one of the things that helped Mamdani up in New York, that so many people, New York, what less affordable city? Do you think this affordability thing has helped propel Mamdani to a national brand?
Again, not being a New Yorker, I was in the city a couple of weeks ago, but so I'm only giving you my hypothesis, but based on what we do know about costs and the issues at hand, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a factor. Certainly, it's this, and not specifically just on Mamdani. I would say there's appeal to.
Okay, I'm going to restart this live stream. Go to the channel and go to the new live.
The left or the right, because of change, and there's always this optimism, as Marshall talked about, optimism with this notion of